Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Thanks for watching, much appreciated. So today what we're going to be doing is building a modal in React, and we're not going to be using any outside libraries or anything like that. It's just straight up React. It's not going to be anything earth-shattering. As you can see, this is what we're going to be building today. It's just a simple button. When you click it, a modal pops up with a form here, and you hit send, and then you close the modal. But it is good to know these things, how to do them organically in React. Okay, there's plenty of libraries out there that make this easy to do, to build a modal. But as you'll see in this video, building a modal with straight up React is pretty easy. So if that sounds good, please consider subscribing, and if you find this video helpful in any way, please leave a like, hit the thumbs up button, and also consider subscribing, as I do coding tutorials for beginners. And if you have any suggestions or requests, please leave them in the comments below. Same as if you have any follow-up questions to this video, please leave them in the comments below. I'd be glad to help you out with those. All right, with all that said, let's get started. So again, this is what we're going to be building. So just a simple button pops up a form. And I think in this example I have the, whatever you type into the form, once you send it, it just console logs it. And then you close the modal. So you open it, close it, open it, and also you can click out here and it closes it. Okay? So let's get started. Let me shut down this dev server, this temporary one. Okay, I'm going to close that. And here what I have is basically I have VS Code open. I created a folder called Modal App, and I did npx create react app. If you're looking for help with that, I will leave a video linked in the description on how to get started with npx create react app, which generates a React application boilerplate for you. I also went through and I cleaned up some of the files. I got rid of some of the files. I deleted the whole app CSS. And here we just have a basic div and the index.js. I go over all that in my intro to Create React App. So after this video, check that out if you're not familiar with it. So let's get started. It's actually pretty simple what we're going to be doing, but it's a good way to practice. We're going to be working with state. We're going to be working with hooks. We're using functional components here, and we're also going to be working with props. So it's a nice little thing to sort of help you practice with React. So enough yapping. Let's get started. We're going to start with our app.js. By the way, I have a terminal open here, open new terminal, and I just right-clicked and hit move to right side. Okay, so first thing we need to do is inside of our main div, we need to create two things. We need to create our button that opens the modal, and then our modal itself. Okay, so let's do that. So I'm not using Bootstrap or anything like that. I'm just using straight up React and CSS. And yes, the CSS will be, all the code will be in the description below via my GitHub. So don't worry, I know CSS freaks people out. If you'd like a CSS tutorial, I'd be glad to do it. All right, now let's see. Let's give div and give this a class name of modal. And then I have Emmet installed. That's why I'm able to do div dot and it assigns a class name to it. So let's create our modal. So it's called class name modal. Sorry. So this div here is the full modal that you've seen in the example. That's the entire screen it's going to take up. Excuse me. And then the actual modal itself, we're going to make one inside of there to hold our form. excuse me, we're going to call that inner, just because I couldn't think of anything better. Okay, and then inside that we need our form. We don't need an action. You don't have to. I mean, this is not a form tutorial, but I'm going to do on submit for the form, which is what happens when a user clicks submit. And we'll call that form submit. Okay. I don't think I can zoom in. No, I can't zoom in on VS Code. I don't know why, guys. So hopefully you can see. I'm going to do label HTML4. We'll just do name. It doesn't really matter. Name. Just creating the basic JSX or HTML. It's not really HTML, but it looks like it. Input :text, which is from Emmett, which should be automatically installed in most recent VS Code packages. But if it's not, there's a way to turn it on or whatever. So Google that. We need a button for this form. Okay, and I'm going to do this ampersand times thing, which creates like a little X for you. And then we'll say close, just to keep it consistent. Okay, good. Now there's no CSS applied or anything, but let's take a look at what we got so far. So I'm going to save all this. I'm going to come over here, do npm. If you can see over here, you can start to run our React app. Okay. Just give it a second. Bear with me. All right, so we're running our app, and I forgot that if you're doing a form submit, you have to have something in there. So let's just take care of that right away, because this is not a form video. So let's do form submit. This is the function that happens when a user clicks the submit button, which of course is our main button there. We're going to do e.prevent, sorry, not EJS, e.prevent. Sometimes VS Code has too many things to help you with developing, and it gets in the way. We're going to console.log. Oops. .log. What are we console.logging? Nothing for now. Let's just nothing. Who cares? Okay. So there we are. Now we're good. Let's take a look. Okay. So fill out form is the button to open our modal. Here's our form, and you can inspect it. And we can type in here and submit. Wait a minute, do we have a button for... Oh, whoops. Sorry about that, guys. Sorry, I put the close button inside the form. That should be outside the form, and we need a button here with type of submit. Okay, and we're going to say send, whatever, it doesn't matter. Sorry about that. Okay, so here we go. So here's our form. We type, we send, nothing. Here's the close button, here's the form button. Obviously nothing works because we haven't implemented anything yet, but at least we sort of got the beginnings of it. Now, let's see. One thing I'm going to do first is I'm going to take this div, our modal div, okay, and I'm going to take it out of there, and I'm going to come down here, and I'm going to say, I'm going to call this modal for obvious reasons, and I'm going to put this in a separate functional component. Now you can put this in, a different file, but for now this is good enough. You get the idea, and then you would just import it into this file. So let's do that. We put that there. Now, real quick, I'm just going to buzz through. We need state or use state hook for our name, for our form values, set name. This is standard form stuff for React. I have a couple of videos on React forms. I'll leave those linked in the description if you want to check those out. They're not too bad. Let's see, and then we come down to our input field and we do an on change event. Okay, and we do the event. We set our event, and then we do set name to that event dot target dot value, the value of the thing. You know, you get it. Okay, so now technically our form should work, and one other thing, we got to move this form submit function down into our thing, and then we need to bring put our modal component in here. Okay, pretty simple. So this is the same as if you made a file called modal.js and put this in there and exported it and then imported it into here, but I'm just doing it in here, which is pretty common, but it's not the best practice, but it's okay for what we're trying to do. And of course we need to bring in useState, so I say import react and also useState from React. Okay. We're not using any libraries. We're not using any packages. Nothing. Form submitted. Oh, whoops. Gotta take that out of there. Name is assigned a value. It doesn't matter. And we're gonna just console.log the results of the form after. In case you were wondering, it was over here. They was giving me some warnings. All right, so let's check this out. So obviously not much has changed. We just refresh and we don't have those warnings anymore. You type something in here, send it, and the console.logs it. All right, let's get off this form. This is not a form thing. So what we need to do is come up here into the app component, main app component, and we need some state. So state is going to manage our modal, whether it's open or closed. And we're going to call that show and then set show, right? So you have to have something that lets React know or lets the DOM know that the modal is either open or not. Okay. So now this button, of course, is going to control our modal. Okay. Excuse me. So when someone clicks on the button, obviously we're going to do a callback function. And what should we do? We're going to call this function for show. We're going to call that and we're going to set it. What are we going to set it to? Similar to my form videos, if you get a chance to see those, I would appreciate that. So basically, you don't, when a user is interacting with your app, you don't know what state it's going to be in. So you can't just say, make this true now and make this false, because it could create some errors. So what we do is we set show to the value that is not show. So whatever show currently is not, we're going to set it to that. So if it's true, it's going to set it to false. If it's not, it'll set it to the opposite. And that really only works on true false values. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, now so we need to now pass in props. We need to pass in this state into our modal component, and then we need to come down to our actual modal component and pull it out of there. Now this is destructuring. Normally you could write props and then you would do props.show, but instead I'm going to destructure and pull out the show props out of there. Okay. And then we need to take care of one more thing before technically it works. Sorry, so come down below where you declared the state, and we're going to say if, okay, if not show, so if it's false, okay, we're going to say return null. Okay, And that's really all we have to do. See? And it disappeared. And then you click fill out form and it appears. And it works. And there you go. Now, of course, the close button doesn't work. But see, you can open and close the modal by clicking the form. So just this little logic right here. You know, we passed down the props. We created the state here to control whether it's shown or not. We passed the props down. We pulled the props out, and then we used the props here. So if it's not shown, then we return nothing or null. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Let's move on. Let's work on, you know what? Right now I'm going to, because CSS is hard according to everybody, I'm going to just copy and paste the CSS in here. Like I said, it will be in my GitHub repo for you to check out and download and do whatever you want with. Let's see if that made a difference. There we go. Good. Okay. Fill out form. I forgot to assign this main div should be called main. So this is our main app, and then this is our modal component down here. There we go. Fill out form. Now it looks like it did in the beginning. Close doesn't work, of course, but if you click, oh, you can't, because this gray area is the entire modal. This square is the inner thing. You can refresh and then it goes again. All right, so let's work on the close button so we can close it. And then there's not too much more to do after that, to be honest with you. So let's go to our main thing here. Okay, and we're going to say this is on close, which is a React thing. A React event. Okay, so we're going to call back function, and we're going to set show, so on close. Again, we're going to set show to whatever it's not. Right, so if it's true, it's going to set it to false. If it's false, it's going to set it to true. Okay, so we're passing in this event. Okay, so now we need to pass it into here via props. Oops, on close. Okay, so we passed it to our modal component, and now we're pulling it out here. And then on the close button, we need to pass that. We need to say on click event is going to be the on close. Okay. Bingo. So that should work. So let's refresh for good measure. We click to open the form. We use our form. We click. It works. And we close it. Bingo. Open, close, open, close. Wonderful. And remember in the beginning where you click outside of the modal and it closes, that's easy. I'm sure you could guess. You just add it to this main div. Okay, so let's refresh just for sake, and there you go. It closes when you click anywhere outside of the form. So let's test our form. Oops, it doesn't work. So why is that? So we put this on click, so when you click on this main div, this gray area here, it closes, right? It still closes when you use the close button, but if you click here on this gray area, it closes also. But that means that when you click to use your form, it also closes, right? So, because this div, your form and everything is inside of this div, and that's where you set the on close. So what we need to do to stop that from happening on the inner div, we need to add an on click event. Okay, and we need to pass in our event parameter. Okay, and then we need to use something called e dot or event dot stop propagation. And basically that just it stops whatever other action is happening on the parent object of so this is the child object, it's going to stop propagation of it. Let's look up. I forget what the exact definition is. E dot stop propagation. The stop propagation method of the event interface prevents further propagation of the current event in the capturing and bubbling phases. It does not, however, prevent any default behaviors from occurring. Blah blah blah. So it just stops it. Okay. So it's not really self-explanatory. I just know you're supposed to use that there in order to prevent it. Okay, and but just so you get a good realization of what that's about. So let's save it, and we should be good. We should be done. So let's refresh just for the heck of it. Open it, fill out our form, send, good, close. Let's try this close button, send our form, close, and there you go. And that's it, guys. Pretty easy. So basically you're using state and props to manage your modal, and a few other little things thrown in there, and some semi-decent CSS. It's not great, but at least it's decent. Listen, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have, please smash the like button. I would appreciate it. And also considering subscribing. I'm trying to do more and more videos each week for you. For example, I just did a video on Thursday or Friday, and now I'm doing another one. Or I'm sorry, not Thursday or Friday, last week of Monday or Tuesday, and now I'm doing another one. So please consider subscribing, and if you want to see something in a future video, please leave that in the comments below. I would appreciate it, and I will certainly try to get it out there for you. So guys, hopefully this helped you in some way, and that's it. All right, thanks so much, guys. Take care. Bye.